It came as a quiet signal picked up by deep space listening stations far beyond the orbit of Pluto. At first, human scientists thought it was noise, the echo of a dying star or broken satellite. But the signal repeated. It was structured. It carried meaning. Within hours, it reached Earth Command. The message was not long, but it was heavy with fear. It spoke of burning worlds, broken cities, and a people running out of time. The senders called themselves the Cathari. They were not warriors by nature. They were builders, thinkers, and traders. For centuries, they had avoided war by staying neutral. That choice had finally failed them. Another species had found them. The invaders did not ask for peace. They came with ships built for destruction and soldiers bred for conquest. The Cathari tried to fight back, using drones and energy fields. But it was not enough. Their enemies fought face to face, tearing through defenses with brutal strength. World after world fell. Now, with their last strongholds under attack, the Cathari did something they had never done before. They asked for help. On Earth, the request spread quickly through military and civilian channels. News networks showed rough translations of the alien plea. Images followed. Tall cities, reduced to ash. Families hiding in underground shelters. Children, with wide, glowing eyes, staring into the camera. Many humans watched in silence. In a secured chamber beneath the Rocky Mountains, the Earth Command Council gathered. The room was simple. A long table. Screens on every wall. Flags of every major nation stood together behind the council seats. Colonel John Carter stood at attention near the main display. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and calm, with short brown hair starting to show gray at the edges. He had spent his life preparing for wars that never came. Until now. The screen showed a three-dimensional map of the Cathari system. Red marks showed lost planets. Only 3 green lights remained. Captain Lisa Morgan leaned forward, her arms crossed. She had flown combat missions for over a decade and had seen destruction firsthand. Still, the scale of this was different. "They are losing fast," she said. Daniel Brooks, a science officer with tired eyes, adjusted his tablet. "Their technology is advanced, but it is built for defense and trade, not for ground war. Their soldiers panic under pressure. They lack close combat training." End quote. A quiet settled over the room. President Ellen Price broke the silence. "And they chose to contact us. Of all species in the stars, they reached out to humanity. No one answered right away. Human history was full of war. Humans understood violence better than they liked to admit. They had learned it early, learned it hard, and paid for it in blood. Even in peace, their soldiers trained as if war could return at any moment." Colonel Carter finally spoke. "They did not ask for weapons. They asked for assistance." The word hung in the air. Assistance could mean many things: advice, supplies, technology, or something else entirely. Captain Morgan looked up at the map again. Their enemy fights on the ground, brutal, direct. That kind of war? Humans know that kind of war. Daniel Brooks nodded slowly. "They studied us before sending the message. Our conflicts, our tactics, our history. They know what we are capable of." That truth was uncomfortable. Earth had worked hard to present itself as peaceful to the stars. First contact protocols focused on diplomacy and restraint. Humanity did not want to be known as conquerors. But they were survivors. Outside the chamber, protests had already begun. Some humans demanded action. Others warned against getting involved in an alien war. Fear spread fast, but so did anger. Children had watched the images too. Colonel Carter was dismissed from the chamber with orders to prepare options. He walked through long halls of stone and steel, his boots echoing with each step. His mind drifted to his years as a young officer, training recruits who barely understood why they were learning to fight. He understood now. In another part of the base, Sergeant Alex Turner finished a training drill. Sweat ran down his face as he removed his helmet. He was in his early 30s. Strong, fast, and sharp-eyed. The kind of soldier who noticed everything. Medic Amy Lopez handed him a water pack. "You hear the rumors?" He took a long drink before answering. "About aliens?" "Yeah. I hear things." She lowered her voice. "They say it's bad. Real bad." Alex nodded. He had seen war zones on Earth. Cities broken by bombs. People caught between forces they could not control. If it was worse than that, then it truly was bad. Across the base, Lieutenant Ryan Cole studied mission reports late into the night. He was younger than most officers, but his record spoke for itself. Calm under pressure. Willing to take risks when needed. He read the alien data carefully, noting patterns in enemy movement and battlefield behavior. "They fight like predators," he muttered. "Direct and fearless. That can be used against them." The next day, Earth Command reconvened. This time, the room was louder. Arguments filled the air. Political leaders debated cost and risk. Military leaders debated strategy. Scientists debated consequences. President Price raised her hand. Silence followed. "We did not reach the stars to turn away when someone is dying," she said. "But we will not rush blindly into war either." She turned to Colonel Carter. "What is your recommendation?" He stood straight. "Send Marines." The word landed hard. Gasps followed. Some council members shook their heads. Others leaned forward. "Not advisors," Carter continued. "Not weapons shipments. Marines. Small units at first. Defensive operations. Training support. If the situation worsens, we expand." Captain Morgan spoke next. "If we send them, we must accept the risk. Humans will die." "Yes," Carter said simply. "But if we do nothing, the Cathari will die." Daniel Brooks added, "And if the invaders win, they will not stop there. They will notice Earth." That settled it more than any speech. The vote was close, but clear. Humanity would answer the call. The message sent back to the Cathari was brief and honest. It promised help, but no conquest. Defense, not control. Partnership, not command. When the Cathari leaders received it, many of them wept. They had expected silence or rejection. Instead, they saw images of human soldiers standing in formation. Not towering giants, not machines. Just men and women in armor, faces calm and steady. Preparation began immediately. Ships were refitted for long travel. Equipment was tested for alien environments. Marines trained harder than ever, knowing this mission was different. This was not about borders or politics. This was about standing between destruction and people who could not fight alone. Sergeant Alex Turner packed his gear in silence. Amy Lopez checked medical supplies twice. Ryan Cole reviewed maps until he could see them with his eyes closed. Colonel John Carter watched the first transport lift into the sky. Fire roared beneath it as it climbed toward the stars. He felt fear. He felt pride. Most of all, he felt certainty. Humanity had made its choice. Somewhere far away, alien cities still burned. But now, across the dark space between stars, something else was moving toward them. The transport ships left Earth with a roar that shook the skies. Inside, the Marines sat quietly, checking weapons, securing packs, and reviewing mission plans. Many had never seen another world. Some had never left the atmosphere. Now, they were moving toward an alien system where millions of lives depended on them. Colonel John Carter walked through the ship, stopping to speak to squads. He saw determination in every face. Alex Turner nodded at him, ready for anything. Amy Lopez offered quiet encouragement to those feeling nervous. Captain Lisa Morgan checked the data screens, running simulations of landing zones, possible enemy positions, and potential rescue operations. Lieutenant Ryan Cole studied alien maps, trying to understand what the Marines could expect. "Remember," Carter said, "we are not here to conquer. We are here to protect. Treat every life with respect, human or alien. Follow orders, stay together, and never forget why you came." The Marines nodded. They had heard this speech many times on Earth, but now it carried weight far beyond their usual training grounds. The journey was long. The stars drifted by in silent beauty, but no one spoke much. Many stared out small viewports, thinking about home. Others reviewed equipment again, triple-checking weapons, armor, and supplies. Amy Lopez cleaned her medkit and ensured every bandage and syringe was in place. She thought about the alien children they might meet and how helpless they could be. After weeks of travel, the fleet finally approached the Cathari system. The first sight of the planets sent a quiet gasp through the ship. The worlds were scarred. Massive craters marked the surface. Smoke rose from broken cities. The red glow of fire and the cold shimmer of energy shields made the system look like a battlefield frozen in time. Captain Morgan called the bridge. "We are in orbit. Sensors show enemy presence on at least 2 major planets. Landing zones are limited. We need a plan." Colonel Carter studied the holographic map. "We go where we are needed most. Squads 1 and 2 will land near the primary city. Secure civilians, provide support, and push back enemy forces as much as possible. Squads 3 and 4 will protect evacuation routes." The Marines checked their equipment again. Weapons hummed with energy power. Armor plates locked tight. Helmets fitted snugly. They were trained for war, but this was different. The enemy was unknown, and the terrain was alien. Even the best simulations could not prepare them for what awaited. As the first transport ship descended toward the surface, the alien city came into view. It was larger than any city on Earth, but half of it was destroyed. Towers had collapsed, streets were blocked by debris, and faint smoke rose from ruined neighborhoods. Scattered lights flickered in the darkness, hinting at people hiding inside. The landing was tense. Enemy scouts had not detected them yet, but they could appear at any moment. The Marines moved quickly, securing the perimeter. Alex Turner led his squad through narrow streets, checking corners and moving with practiced precision. Every step could be deadly, but the team worked as one. Suddenly, a loud screech echoed from the rubble. An alien patrol had found them. Their bodies were tall and lean, with armor that glinted under the city lights. They had weapons that fired pulses of energy, but the Marines were ready. "Open fire!" Alex shouted. The street lit up with bursts of blue and red. The enemy was strong, but human training, teamwork, and courage proved better. Squad members moved in perfect coordination, covering each other as they advanced. Even when one Marine was hit, they pulled him back, providing immediate medical aid from Amy Lopez. She worked quickly, patching wounds, keeping soldiers alive while still moving forward. The Cathari watched from behind barricades. They had expected the humans to be weak, small, and fragile. Instead, they saw courage and determination. Humans fought not because they had to, but because they chose to protect. After hours of fighting, the Marines secured the first city block. Civilians came out of hiding, tears in their eyes, hands raised in relief. Amy Lopez moved among them, calming panic, checking for injuries, and giving what comfort she could. She saw children clutching small toys, scared and exhausted, yet alive. This was why she had trained. This was why she had joined the mission. Colonel Carter arrived to coordinate the next move. "We hold this area until evacuation ships arrive. Enemy reinforcements could come at any time. Stay alert. The Marines set up defensive positions. Sensors scanned for enemy movements. Drones hovered overhead, giving early warnings of approaching forces. Lieutenant Ryan Cole walked the perimeter, making calculations in real time. "We are holding them off," he said quietly, "but they will not stop coming." Hours later, the enemy appeared in larger numbers. They moved like a coordinated storm, trying to overwhelm the Marines' positions. The humans held steady. They used tactics learned from countless battles on Earth, adapting quickly to alien technology. Energy blasts hit walls and streets. But the Marines advanced, pushing the enemy back step by step. Alex Turner led a small strike team to take out enemy artillery. The mission was risky. The enemy fire was heavy, and every street corner could hide danger. Still, the team moved as one. Silent and deadly. They reached the target, destroyed the weapons, and returned to the defensive line, having saved countless civilian lives. As the battle raged, the Cathari began to trust humans. They had never seen warriors like these. They marveled at how humans used teamwork, courage, and clever thinking instead of relying only on advanced weapons. Some young Cathari even joined to help, inspired by the bravery they saw. Captain Morgan coordinated the next stage. Evacuation ships are ready. Civilians will be moved to safe zones. Marines stay behind to cover them. Quote, "The evacuation was dangerous. Enemy forces tried to cut off escape routes, but the Marines were ready. They set traps, created diversions, and fought with every ounce of strength they had." Amy Lopez moved among both humans and aliens, tending to wounds, giving hope in the midst of chaos. Finally, the evacuation was complete. Thousands of Cathari were safe. The Marines had held the city, proving that humans could stand where others might fall. The alien leaders approached Colonel Carter, bowing slightly in respect. They spoke in their language, and translators relayed the words, "You fight not for conquest, but for life." Carter nodded. "We fight because life matters. Your fight is our fight now." As the sun set over the shattered city, the humans and Cathari stood side by side. They had survived the first battle. They had saved lives, and they had proven something more important. Humans were not just soldiers. They were protectors, fighters who answered when someone cried for help. In the following days, the Marines continued their missions. They trained Cathari fighters, defended remaining strongholds, and rescued civilians trapped behind enemy lines. Each operation brought new challenges, new dangers, and new stories of courage. Lieutenant Ryan Cole led a mission to clear a supply route through a ruined city. His team moved carefully, scanning every street and alley. Energy blasts fired from hidden enemy positions. Some Marines were wounded, but the team never retreated. Amy Lopez patched wounds on the spot. Alex Turner took point, leading the squad with precision and bravery. Cathari civilians watched, learning quickly from humans. They saw how to move, how to defend, how to survive. They began to believe they could fight back themselves. Trust and respect grew between the species. Humans were no longer strangers. They were allies, teachers, and friends. Captain Lisa Morgan coordinated a larger plan. They would defend key locations, train Cathari soldiers, and prepare for a counterattack. The enemy was strong, but with humans fighting alongside them, the Cathari had hope. And hope, they learned, was a weapon stronger than any laser or shield. Even as the first week ended, the Marines remained vigilant. Scouts reported enemy movements in the distance. Reinforcements were coming. The mission was far from over. But humans had arrived, and they would not leave. Colonel Carter addressed his team. "We are not heroes, We are human. We fight because it is right. Stay sharp. Stay together. And never forget why we are here. The Marines understood. They were ready. Across the battered alien cities, humans and Ketheri moved side by side, preparing for the challenges ahead. Humans had answered the call for help. Now, the galaxy would begin to see the meaning of their courage. The enemy had been watching. They were patient, waiting for weaknesses in the human-alien alliance. The Kethari cities were scarred, but still standing, thanks to the Marines. Now, the invaders were ready to test them again. Colonel John Carter received the reports early in the morning. Enemy forces are gathering at the southern edge of the main planet. Estimates suggest several thousand soldiers. They are moving fast and will strike by nightfall. Captain Lisa Morgan studied the data. They think the humans are limited to small skirmishes. They do not expect us to hold a full-scale engagement. Then we give them a surprise, Carter said, his face calm but eyes sharp. We fight smart. We fight together. And we make them regret underestimating us. Lieutenant Ryan Cole walked through the planning room, pointing at holographic maps. We know the terrain. Narrow streets, ruined buildings, collapsed towers. They will move in waves. If we funnel them, we can cut them down with minimal risk to civilians and our Marines. Sergeant Alex Turner nodded. Our squads can set traps, mines, and obstacles. We'll use the enemy's speed against them. They won't see us coming. Amy Lopez checked her medical supplies. And I'll be ready. There will be casualties. I can handle it. The Kethari leaders approached cautiously. We trust your judgment, one said, in translated words. Our soldiers are not strong in direct combat. We rely on you. Colonel Carter bowed slightly. We rely on each other. That is how we win. And, as night fell over the main planet, the human-alien forces moved into position. Marines crouched behind debris. Drones hovered quietly above to watch for movement. And Kethari soldiers followed human instructions carefully. Civilians had been evacuated to safe zones, their paths guarded by smaller human teams. The first wave came suddenly. Thousands of enemy soldiers poured into the city, confident and loud. Their weapons fired glowing blasts that tore through walls and streets. But the Marines were ready. Alex Turner led a squad down a narrow alley. They had set up energy traps that exploded in controlled bursts, taking down dozens of enemy soldiers before the invaders even realized what happened. Marines moved swiftly, using walls, rubble, and shadows to strike from unexpected angles. Every move was precise. Every shot calculated. Keep moving, Alex shouted. Cover each other. Amy Lopez ran through the streets with a medkit on her back. She helped wounded Kethari soldiers and humans alike, calming them and keeping them alive long enough to reach safety. Her hands worked quickly, steady and sure, even as blasts shook the buildings around her. Lieutenant Ryan Cole climbed a broken tower with his squad. From there, they could see the enemy formation. He called out positions to other squads, directing fire and marking targets. His voice was calm and confident, guiding soldiers and aliens through chaos. Captain Lisa Morgan coordinated the battle from a mobile command post. She watched the enemy advance, analyzed their movements, and directed reinforcements to weak points. The humans fought not just with weapons, but with strategy. They adapted quickly, changing plans when new threats appeared. The enemy was surprised. They had expected humans to be small, slow, and easy to push back. Instead, they faced coordinated squads, moving in perfect harmony. Even when some were wounded, they refused to retreat. Humans pulled each other up, helped fallen Kethari, and kept pushing forward. Alex Turner led a dangerous maneuver to flank the enemy's main unit. The squad moved through debris-filled streets, avoiding enemy fire. Finally, they reached the enemy's artillery position. Using explosives, they destroyed the weapons, cutting off the enemy's ability to bombard the city. The move saved countless lives and shifted the battle in favor of humans and Cathari. "Good work," Colonel Carter said over the comms. "Keep the pressure on." The fighting lasted through the night. Energy blasts lit the sky. Buildings collapsed. Smoke rose in thick clouds. But the human and Cathari alliance held firm. Every Marine knew their role. Every Cathari soldier followed instructions. Together, they became more than the sum of their parts. In the heart of the city, Lieutenant Ryan Cole's team encountered a group of enemy soldiers trying to break through a barricade. The alley was narrow, giving the Marines an advantage. They waited, patient and silent. When the enemy passed, the squad attacked from both ends, trapping the invaders. The fight was short, brutal, and decisive. The squad emerged victorious, with no serious injuries. Amy Lopez ran to assist a wounded Cathari officer. She applied bandages quickly while encouraging him. "You're going to be fine," she said. "Stay calm. Help is here." The officer looked at her in wonder. "Humans, you fight not for glory, but to save lives." She nodded. "That is what we do." In another sector, Alex Turner led a small strike team to rescue civilians trapped in a ruined building. The structure was unstable, and enemy soldiers patrolled the area. The team moved carefully, avoiding falling debris and hidden traps. They reached the civilians, guiding them to safety under heavy fire. As dawn approached, the enemy began to retreat. Their forces were scattered, their morale broken. The Marines and Cathari had held the city. The survivors emerged from hiding, cheering quietly, tears on their faces. Humans had protected them. Humans had fought when others could not. Colonel Carter surveyed the battlefield. Streets were ruined. Smoke rose from debris, but the city was safe. "This is just the beginning," he said to his team. "We've shown them that humans fight together. We've shown the enemy they cannot underestimate us." Captain Lisa Morgan nodded. "They will regroup. More are coming, but we are ready." Lieutenant Ryan Cole walked among Cathari soldiers, giving advice and encouragement. "Stay sharp. Remember your training. Watch each other's backs. We fight as one." Amy Lopez treated the last of the wounded and looked at the sky. The sun was rising over a broken world, painting ruins in golden light. Even in destruction, life had survived. She smiled softly. "We did good," she said quietly. Alex Turner cleaned his weapon and checked traps for the next engagement. "They think they can scare us. They don't understand humans. We never back down when someone needs help." Throughout the city, humans and Cathari worked together to repair defenses, prepare for the next attack, and care for those in need. The enemy had been strong, but human courage, strategy, and teamwork had been stronger. Colonel Carter addressed the Marines and Cathari leaders. "Today we fought not just for victory, but for life. We showed that when humans answer a call for help, we do not falter. We fight. We protect. We survive. And we do it together." The words carried far. Cathari soldiers repeated them to each other, inspiring confidence and trust. Civilians whispered them as they rebuilt. Even distant observers, scanning the planet from orbit, knew that humans were different. Not the strongest, not the fastest, but unstoppable when standing for what was right. That night, the Marines rested briefly. Alarms remained ready, weapons loaded, and drones patrolling. They knew the enemy would return. More battles would come. More lives depended on them. But for the first time, the Cathari believed they could win. And for the first time, humans knew the full weight of what it meant to protect another world. Lieutenant Ryan Cole looked at the city skyline, broken but alive. "We've done something important here," he said softly. "We've shown them what humans are. We've shown them what humans are. We've shown them." Sergeant Alex Turner nodded. "They will never forget it, and neither will we." "No." Amy Lopez, tired but steady, said, "We're just doing our job. But it feels bigger than that." Colonel Carter stood at the top of a ruined building, watching the sunrise. "Humans answer when help is needed. We fight not for ourselves, but for others. That is who we are." The first major battle was over. The city survived. The people survived. And humanity's courage had become legend, even before the war was finished. But beyond the horizon, enemy forces gathered once more. They had seen humans fight, and now they feared them. The real test was coming. The Marines knew it. The Cathari knew it. And the enemy, for the first time, realized that when humans enter a fight, the outcome is never certain, and usually not in their favor. The enemy had retreated, but they were not defeated. From distant planets, their forces gathered, stronger and angrier than before. Reports reached Colonel John Carter early in the morning. They are massing at 3 locations simultaneously. They will try to divide us and crush our defenses. This will be the largest battle yet. Captain Lisa Morgan studied the data, frowning. "We cannot fight them one by one. We must coordinate, and we must strike first wherever possible. Timing will be everything." Lieutenant Ryan Cole pointed to the maps. "We know the terrain better than they do. We know the cities, the streets, the safe zones. We can use that knowledge to our advantage. Traps, ambushes, and coordination. If we fight smart, we can turn this battle." Sergeant Alex Turner checked his squad's weapons and armor. "We've trained for this. We've fought small battles. Now it is all together. Every squad, every Marine, every Cathari soldier, every civilian we can protect. It all matters." Amy Lopez packed her medical supplies carefully. "There will be injuries," she said quietly, "but we will save as many as we can. That is our duty." Colonel Carter addressed the combined human Cathari forces. "Today, we fight not for territory. Today we fight to protect life, to stop an enemy that has destroyed everything they touch. We are not alone. We fight together. Stay focused, stay brave, and never forget why we are here." The forces moved into position. Humans and Cathari soldiers set up defensive lines, patrolled key streets, and fortified buildings. Civilians were evacuated to underground bunkers and safe zones, carefully guarded. Drones scanned the horizon. Sensors watched for movement. Every step was preparation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the enemy struck. Thousands of soldiers moved forward with terrifying speed and coordination. Energy blasts lit the sky. Massive machines crashed through streets and buildings. The ground shook with every explosion. The Marines responded immediately. Alex Turner's squad led the first counterattack. They moved quickly through side streets, flanking the enemy, cutting them down before they could reach the civilians. Every Marine knew their role. Every Cathari soldier followed orders with precision. Together, they became unstoppable. Lieutenant Ryan Cole led a strike team to destroy enemy communication hubs. Without them, the enemy would struggle to coordinate. They moved through a ruined city, avoiding patrols, disarming traps, and setting explosives. The mission was dangerous, but success meant fewer lives lost in the main battle. Amy Lopez ran between defensive positions, treating wounded humans and Cathari alike. She worked tirelessly, bandaging, stitching, and comforting. Soldiers looked at her with respect and gratitude. Even in chaos, she brought hope. Captain Lisa Morgan coordinated the battle from a mobile command post. She tracked enemy movements, redirected squads, and guided reinforcements to weak points. Her calm voice over the comms gave soldiers confidence. Hold the line at Sector 4. Push the enemy back near the bridge. Move civilians to tunnels 2 and 3. The enemy was surprised again. Humans were not what they expected. They fought with discipline, strategy, and courage. Even when surrounded, Marines did not panic. They held their ground, protected their allies, and adapted to every attack. In the heart of the city, Alex Turner's squad faced a massive enemy assault. Machines and soldiers advanced together, trying to crush their line. Alex ordered traps to be triggered, creating explosions that stopped the enemy in their tracks. The squad fired in coordinated bursts, taking advantage of every weakness. When one Marine was injured, another pulled him to safety and continued fighting. Lieutenant Ryan Cole's strike team destroyed the enemy communication hub just as a massive group of soldiers arrived. They held their ground, using barricades and cover. Explosions rocked the building, but they completed the mission and retreated safely, cutting off enemy coordination. Amy Lopez tended to a Cathari child caught in crossfire. She held the small alien carefully, bandaging a wounded arm. "You're safe now," she whispered. The child clutched her hand, trembling, but alive. Colonel Carter moved among squads, encouraging and guiding. Focus on life. Focus on teamwork. Focus on the mission. We fight together. We survive together. And we win together. As the battle continued through the night, humans led the counterattacks. Small squads moved rapidly through streets, breaking enemy lines, rescuing trapped civilians, and providing support where needed. The Cathari followed instructions carefully, inspired by the courage they saw. At one point, Alex Turner led a squad to take down a heavily armed enemy machine, threatening a civilian shelter. The machine fired at them with massive energy blasts. The squad ducked behind debris, moving closer step by step. Alex set explosives on the machine's base, while the others provided cover. With a controlled blast, the machine collapsed, saving the civilians inside. Lieutenant Ryan Cole guided Cathari reinforcements to trap an enemy squad. The humans and Cathari surrounded them from 3 sides. The enemy fought hard, but they were no match for the coordinated defense. Hundreds were captured or driven away. Amy Lopez moved from position to position, treating dozens of wounded. Her calm voice and steady hands saved many lives. Soldiers whispered her name in gratitude. She worked tirelessly, ignoring exhaustion, knowing every life mattered. Captain Lisa Morgan directed reinforcements to hold critical points. She rerouted squads as the enemy tried to exploit weak areas. Her decisions were fast, precise, and effective. The Marines adapted to every challenge, proving once again why humans were unmatched in strategy and courage. As dawn approached, the battle turned decisively. Enemy forces were scattered, their machines destroyed or captured, and morale shattered. The city was scarred, but it was safe. Humans and Cathari had survived the largest assault yet. Colonel Carter gathered his officers. "We have won this battle," he said. "But remember, victory is measured not by destruction, but by lives protected and trust earned. Today, humans showed the galaxy what it means to fight for others. That is our strength." The Cathari leaders approached him, bowing in respect. "You are not like any other beings we have met," one said. "Humans fight not for glory, but for life. Your courage has saved countless souls." Alex Turner and Lieutenant Ryan Cole surveyed the city from a rooftop. "They will not forget us," Alex said. "We fought, And we protected. That is enough. Amy Lopez treated the last of the wounded in a makeshift field hospital. She smiled softly. We did our job, she said. But it feels bigger, much bigger. Captain Lisa Morgan looked at the horizon. Humanity has answered the call. Now, others across the galaxy will know that humans fight when help is needed, and they will respect that. Colonel Carter watched the city, broken but alive. He thought about every Marine, every civilian, every Cathari who had survived. We were not the strongest, he said quietly. We were not the fastest. We were humans. We answered the call, and that made all the difference. Over the next weeks, the Marines and Cathari rebuilt what they could. More cities were liberated. Refugees returned. Humans trained Cathari soldiers in tactics, strategy, and survival. Together, they pushed the enemy back across multiple worlds. The invaders learned a hard truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. Small, disciplined, and fearless, humans could change the course of war with courage, teamwork, and determination. They fought not for power, not for territory, but for life itself. Finally, the enemy retreated beyond the farthest borders of Cathari space. The galaxy was quieter, but the memory of human Marines remained. Alien species spoke of them in awe and respect. Humans had shown that when someone cries for help, humanity answers. Colonel Carter stood on the deck of a human transport, looking at the stars. We went to help, he said. We fought, we protected, and we survived. That is what humans do. Alex Turner cleaned his weapon one last time. They will remember this, he said. They will never forget the humans who came to help. Amy Lopez packed her medical kit. We did more than fight, she said. We saved lives, and that is worth everything. Lieutenant Ryan Cole looked out at the recovering cities. Humans fight for what is right, he said, and that is why we are different. Indifility a team the par. The Cathari leaders thanked the humans with gifts, honors, and words of respect. They invited humans to join alliances, to share knowledge, and to be partners in the galaxy. Humans did not take command. They did not seek glory. They simply stood where others could not, protecting life and earning trust. Colonel Carter reflected on the entire campaign. Humans were never the strongest, never the most powerful, and never the fastest. But they were the ones who answered when help was needed. That was their legacy. That was their power. As the human fleet departed the Cathari system, the stars shone bright. The galaxy had seen humanity in action, and a new respect had been earned. Humans had answered the call. Humans had fought. And humans had reminded the galaxy of one undeniable truth. When humanity sends its Marines, help will arrive, and hope will survive.